Peter Ash opened his eyes in the dark, listening. Some sound had pulled him from sleep. Not one of the normal noises of the old house. His subconscious mind was used to the wintry clank of the radiators, the wind's rattle of the loose window pane that he hadn't gotten around to mending before the weather turned. This was something different. Peter often woke in the night, pillow wet with sweat, mind racing. The war returned in his dreams. He'd come to terms with it mostly, had learned not to fight it. It helped to look over and see June Cassidy snoring softly beside him, buried under a mound of quilts, to think of the life he was making with her every day. Sometimes that was enough. Other times, his chest was so tight he could barely breathe, so he'd get up and pace the unlit house, heart pounding, skin flushed and damp, fighting to pull air into his lungs. He'd feel the desert sun baking his skin. He'd see the faces from those gone-away days, good friends who had died, or men he had killed. He'd smell the stench of unburied bodies, breath after breath. He let it all come. The cost of war. But Peter wasn't sweating now. He felt cool and alert, his senses searching the night. He glanced at the clock on the nightstand. It was 3:45. Then came a soft clink, like metal on stone. Someone downstairs. Slowly and carefully, not wanting to wake June, he untwined himself from her naked body and eased himself out of bed. He knelt beside the nightstand and slipped a Browning high-power pistol from the holster he'd mounted to the underside, then took a cylindrical suppressor from a leather sleeve beside it and threaded it onto the pistol's barrel. No reason to wake the neighbors if this got ugly. Gun in hand, he stepped into the pair of raggedy blue boxers that June had peeled off him the night before, then left the bedroom and walked barefoot across the sloping wood floor toward the stairs, the night air cold against his bare skin. As he crept down the steps, he stayed tight against the wall where the wide oak treads wouldn't squeak. His scalp tingled, and his heart thumped in his chest. The Browning's safety was already off. He heard the sound of running water from the back of the house. He ghosted down the long hall toward the dim electric glow of the kitchen stove, the faint rumble of a drawer closing softly. He rounded the corner with the Browning up and his finger on the trigger. A shadow stood staring into the open upper cabinets, hands on his hips. His starched white shirt glowed against his dark skin. Peter had thought he'd been utterly soundless, but Lewis spoke without looking at him. "Where's your big thermos at?" On the counter, the coffee maker gurgled and began to drip. A loaf of brown bread stood on a cutting board beside a jar of peanut butter and a plastic bear filled with honey. Peter lowered the Browning, felt his heart beat slow. "I thought you were in Detroit, that investment conference." "Left early." Lewis's voice was slippery and dark, like motor oil. "Big thermos?" Peter put the pistol on safe and set it on the counter. "Above the coffee maker, top shelf." The cabinets were custom and went all the way up to the 9-foot ceiling. Peter had built them himself. He and Lewis had renovated most of the old house together, adding big new windows that opened up the back to the forested ravine that dropped down to the river below. Outside, the Wisconsin landscape shone white with moonlit snow. Lewis found the dented green Stanley thermos, set it in the sink, and filled it with hot water, pre-warming the cold metal. His movements were quick and clean. His sleeves rolled exactly twice. His polished black combat boots moved silently across the slate floor. "You busy today?" Peter was in the middle of a spec project on the expensive side of the river, a gut remodel. The electrician was starting the rewire at 7 a.m. The plumbing inspector was due after lunch. Before the drywall delivery, scheduled for mid-afternoon, Peter had sagging floor joists to reinforce in the dining room and a new beam to install in the basement.